The night pressed in on Cambrige, a heavy velvet cloak stitched with a faint glow of gas lamps and neon. "He has found her," she said, her voice smooth but unyielding. "Elizabeth, the one with the sacred bloodline. He needs her for the ritual." My claws itched beneath my human skin. "There's an infestation," I countered. "Werewolves are getting bold. The vampires are restless. Snatching a student from the university now. It's risky." Alessandra's gaze was dismissive. "Rank has its privileges. Alicia and its duties Pack will assist. Capture Elizabeth. Bring her to him." The order was absolute. The name of the warlock she serves was left unspoken. It always is. We just call him. And when he summons, we obey. Later I stood on the club's balcony, the city's chaotic energy a dull roar below. The phone in my pocket didn't ring. It vibrated. A subtle, insistent pulse reserved for things that refused to be overheard. I didn't need to look at the screen. Only one being could bypass every ward, every shift of frequency, every digital firewall and reach me directly. I answered. "Yes," I said. The voice on the other end was calm, almost kind. It always was. "You've met with Alessandra," he said. It wasn't a question. My fingers tightened on the iron railing. "Your human is efficient. She is useful," he replied. "Efficiency is merely a side effect." A pause hung in the air, heavy with unspoken knowledge. "You are wondering why Elizabeth." My eyes flattened slightly, the panther stirring. "I've hidden people before," I said, my voice low. "I've erased names, burned histories. If she mattered this much, someone like you would have found her sooner." A soft chuckle echoed through the phone. "Ah, that is the conundrum of shapeshifters. You understand blood, but not inheritance. Elizabeth was invisible because she was never meant to be seen, not by magic, not by prophecy, not even by herself." "Explain," I demanded. "DNA," he said simply. "Data. Not spells, not ancient words, just data. The old bloodlines hid behind rituals and myths. I abandoned that centuries ago. The body remembers truths, the mind forgets. Elizabeth's genome carries a sequence that should not exist human enough to pass unnoticed. Ancient enough to anchor a breach. A chill that had nothing to do with the night air traced its way down my spine. "A living key," I murmured. "The stabilizer," he corrected. "Without her the portal collapses in on itself. With her it opens safely." The silence stretched, filled with the enormity of his words. "And she doesn't know?" I asked. "No. She has been protected by ignorance. Moved, often. Loved, just enough. Never trained. Never awakened. No dreams. No voices. No calling." I exhaled slowly. "That kind of hiding takes planning." "Yes," he agreed. "Someone wanted the door sealed permanently. You shapeshifters search for power and lineage and instinct. You never thought to look at medical databases, ancestry kits, discarded blood work." My claws extended, just slightly. "So you found her because she took a test. She donated blood," he said. "A generous act, a foolish one." The night suddenly felt thinner, more fragile. "And now, you retrieve her gently, before she learns what she is, before the wrong people realize what she prevents." "And if she refuses?" I asked. The pause was longer this time. "She won't," he said, his voice laced with unnerving certainty. "She has spent her entire life protecting the world without knowing it. People like that don't run when the truth comes." The call ended. I stared out over the sleeping city. Somewhere among those millions of lights, Elizabeth lived a quiet, normal life, never guessing her very existence was the lock on a forbidden door. For now, I turned from the light, back toward the shadows of the club. The hunt had begun. Elizabeth hadn't meant to make friends. She had mastered the art of being pleasantly forgettable, sit near the window, answer when called on, leave before conversations deepened. It had worked for years. Then came Jake, Tina, Becky, and Jennifer. And once he was seen by one of them, the rest followed. Jake Morales was the jock, built like pure discipline. He studied sports science. His focus on muscle mechanics almost religious. He said he wanted to help injured athletes, but Elizabeth noticed he never seemed tired, ever. And sometimes, when the campus lights flickered, his eyes reflected gold for just a second too long. His advisor, Professor Grant Holloway, was an ex-military kinesiology teacher who walked with a limp that seemed to change day by day. Then there was Tina Cho, the artist who painted things she shouldn't have, scene spirals, doorways, figures half-formed in shadow. Just intuition, she'd say. But her studio always smelled faintly of iron and rain. Dream residue, she'd shrugged when asked. Her professor, Dr. Lucien Marchong, a specialist in surrealism, adored her work. Maybe a little too much. It was said she never appeared in photographs the same way twice. Becky Wilkes, the bookworm, lived in the library. She loved footnotes more than people, and could translate obscure Latin and ancient Greek texts on sight. Sometimes she'd correct the textbooks. Once, half asleep over a dusty tome, she muttered, "That translation's wrong. It doesn't mean gate, it means wound." Elizabeth pretended not to hear. Becky's advisor was Professor Edwin Blackwood, who specialized in pre-Christian texts and was rumored to be over 120 years old. Everyone thought it was a joke, probably. And finally, Jennifer, or Jen, the eccentric undeclared major, mismatched earrings, and 3 phones, one of which never had service but still rang. She spoke in loops and finished sentences others hadn't started. She liked Elizabeth immediately. "You're quiet," Jen said once, her gaze unnervingly direct. "That's usually where the loud stuff hides." Elizabeth had laughed. Jen didn't. Elizabeth herself studied environmental systems, sustainable models, closed loops, balanced like systems that prevented collapse. Her advisor, Dr. Naomi Reyes, encouraged her research into natural stabilizers, ecosystems that absorb stress without breaking. No one thought to ask why Elizabeth instinctively understood equilibrium, why machines seemed to calibrate themselves when she was nearby, or why conflict just seemed to diffuse around her like heat into water. She had been hidden so well, even she didn't know she was the keystone holding a cosmic door shut. But the feeling was spreading. The campus had become alert. Everyone was watching. Campus security patrolled in pairs now, with one always waiting outside buildings. The police liaison, Officer Mark Rook, never cast a reflection in the glass doors of the admin building. The janitors worked only at night, humming in languages even Becky couldn't place, and Alessandra's human resources office. It had access to everything. Anyone could be a vampire hiding behind tenure, a werewolf in campus security, a cultist janitor, or the warlock himself, wearing a human life like a well-tailored coat. Elizabeth laughed with her new friends under the autumn trees, blissfully unaware. And somewhere deep beneath the university, something ancient and terrible listened and waited. The door had not opened yet. Thank you for watching. If you're intrigued by this dark world, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next.